Hello again from my front porch. I am here, actually on the front porch, and I'm here with Eddie Andrews. You can tell because it says right on his t-shirt there, it's Eddie Andrews. Now, Eddie, you are, among other things, currently an Iowa House representative. Which district?
Well, the new district, we're kind of in transition. I was elected for 39, and now the new district is 43, which is Johnston, portion of Urbandale, Saylorville, and Saylor and Crocker Townships.
Which just happens to be where I'm at. What do you know? Now, actually, I don't have him here because he would be my representative, although I think that's kind of cool. I want to brag about this guy a little bit. And this is the first time I've met him today, by the way. So it's not like we're old and dear friends. We will be now. But there's something about him that greatly impressed me, and I wanted to spotlight this aspect about him for your benefit as well. See, as you know, when we talked politics before, I'm an independent, and you know, I'm on any given ballot, I'll vote for a Republican, I'll vote for a Democrat, I'll vote for somebody from some other completely independent, different party if I feel like they're worth my support. I don't vote against somebody.
Exactly.
I only vote for a candidate who has earned my vote. And people say, well, then who do you vote for in this race? Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't vote for a candidate. And I know that drives some people up the wall. But it's my vote. I get to choose what I do with my vote. And my vote is I will vote for a candidate who has earned my vote, who tells me why I should vote for them, not why I should vote against the other person. And so that brings me to why I have Eddie here. I get a lot of mail. Being part of, you know, independent, being in the middle, they all send me stuff. Well, I've got here, these are from a couple of different candidates. I think actually this one lost. I don't know. I guess I didn't even look up to see if this one did or not. I got all these mailings. Now these are all related to national elections, not the Iowa House, but still, concept applies. This particular candidate was running to take on Chuck Grassley, which, okay, you're welcome to do that. But in all these mailings, I get Chuck Grassley turned his back on Iowa and our country. Chuck Grassley has been in Washington for 47 years. Let's make it his last one. Now, of course, the irony here is this particular individual also promoted Joe Biden, who's president now, who had also been in D.C. 47 years before he became president, but apparently that was okay. Anyway, I digress. But we've got also on these same mailings, quotes back here that say, I've won tough races before. Together we'll win this one, expand our majority in the U.S. Senate, and reform the filibuster. Okay, where does it say anything about what's going to be done for Iowa? What's going to be done for the? I don't see it. I see vote against this person, vote for my party. But why should I vote for you? I don't know. And actually, I know this person did not win. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But then there's a whole different person running in a House race. And again, we get, help us defeat one of the GOP's rising stars. Actually, I think they both say, I think they're duplicate. I think duplicate mailings is the same thing. And on the back, it says, I think they have the same speechwriter, quote writers. I won one of the biggest campaigns in Iowa history. Now help us flip one of the most important U.S. House seats in the country. Again, vote against somebody, vote for a party, and I'm not gonna. I'm sorry. I need you to tell me why I should vote for you. So then, in the midst of all of this other, and that's just some examples, in the midst of all of this other negative political stuff, Eddie shows up in my mailbox. I have 3 different mailing pieces from Eddie. He didn't spam me with the same thing repeatedly. 3 different mailing pieces from Eddie. Notice the colors are different. You know, we got red, we got blue. They're not that. In fact, looking at these, looking at these things, I couldn't even tell you what party Eddie's part of. Now, he's wearing a red shirt today, but he said he's out door knocking. And
we wear red, white, and blue.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We alternate.
So you got a whole team out there, and some of your other team members today are wearing blue, and some are wearing white. And so they see your whole army of door knockers, and they see red, white, and blue. Yeah. So don't take any cues. You know, there's no subversive, coloring thing going on here. But I got to share this with you. I don't even know what order they came in. But I got Representative Eddie Andrews, bold vision for Iowa, limited government conservative, courage to stand and fight, let's get government out of the way, empowering parents in education, cutting taxes on families and small business, eliminating regulation and opposing mandates, and nothing about his opponent, nothing about his party, nothing about anything but Eddie. Guess what? Same thing. Guess what? Same thing. Eddie, I want to thank you.
Wow.
I talk about wanting positive candidates that actually say this is what I will do, rather than spending, in his case, no time, but instead of spending all their time talking about somebody else. It exists. Here's this guy right here. So it's not just a fantasy. It's not just a dream. Eddie, you're the real deal.
Well, thank you, sir. First of all, I'm amazed that you picked up on all of those things, because that was what I said initially when I ran 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm not going to mention my opponent's name. I'm not running against my opponent. Why would I spend my time running against someone else? I just said, I'm running for these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I want to do. I want to fix mental health care. We need to attack that scourge in our community and just hit it head on, get more doctors here. We expanded telehealth, parity. We made a lot of changes already, and I just said, you know what? If I'm running for these ideas, please vote for me. If you don't, I told the other person, I said, just call me if you need me.
Yeah.
I'm not against this person.
Yeah. Yeah. I see, and that's the way it should be. Realistically, obviously, you're in the race to win. You win in a race if you don't expect to win. But the way it should be is whoever wins, theoretically, should be able afterwards to pick up the phone to their opponent and say, hey, such and such issue that was big to you has come up. Can I tap into you about this? And that person would cooperate, would say, sure, happy to help. But there's a lot of our political races that would never happen afterwards.
Yes. Well, because they spend so much time trashing that person.
Because it's not even about the politics. It becomes very personal. Yeah. Dig up as much dirt as you can. Just attack. And as we were talking about a little bit before, it's like elections today don't even seem like vote for me because of me. It's vote for me because I have so destroyed the other person that I'm the last one standing.
Yeah. And that's not, first of all, that's not me personally. I'm in ministry. I love people. I actually love people. And I love helping people.
Are you sure you're feeling okay? I'm sorry.
No, I do. That's my whole life. I spent my whole life trying to help people.
Yeah.
And when I saw some of the things that were going on, I didn't really see a lot of the help from an outsider standpoint, just as a family member, as a dad, as a husband. Some of the things that I wanted to address, I didn't see anyone addressing them the way that I thought would have helped our family.
Yeah.
Like in our case, we had a son who was suffering from mental health, and we saw all the holes in the system, and it wasn't really about. It really was not about another party or a party. It was like, how do we, as a family, get help? What would have helped our family? What would help other families? And let's have this discussion. And I didn't really see anybody having that discussion the way I thought.
So your interest in these topics is not even just because, it's a hot buzzword. It's what people are talking. You have a very personal, invested interest in wanting to see people not have to deal with the stuff that you had to deal with to get the help they want to get.
And I remember telling someone this 2 years ago. I said, if we can help one family, 2 families, 100 families, it'll be worth all the nonsense, because it's really not about, and it was really interesting to see, here's a guy who wants to help. Yeah. And, at that point, people were like delving into like 8 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like, what does that have to do with what we helping people?
Well, it's like the example I always use is and I just his name was right there. I just lost it. The Bush beer guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he was raising the money for the University of Iowa Hospital.
With the sign.
Just the goofy little beginning, but it turns into this multi-million-dollar thing, raising money for the Children's Hospital, and then some putz reporter. I say that because I have a journalism degree. Some putz reporter decided, you know what, it would be interesting. Let's go back and dig up Facebook posts he made when he was in high school. and it cause it's like, what is the point? You know, and I do understand if somebody's done something really horrible in the past and they weren't held accountable, okay, maybe. But a lot of this dirt digging seems to just be to say, see that. Frankly, this again, I may be different than the target voter, but I prefer to know that somebody has made mistakes in the past and that they're not making them today. Because what that tells me is they made the mistake, they learned a hard lesson, and they've grown from that.
Sure.
We ought to encourage that.
You're human.
Yeah, but we ought to encourage that kind of development. But instead, oh, did you know this one time they said this thing? And that's just dumb.
And you know what? And this may have been a little bit of naivete, I don't know. But I made the point that I'm not going to go back and change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I spend 12 hours, 15 hours, 100 hours, trying to clean up what I said 17 years ago? Like,
Well, and plus, I mean, I don't even know what it was because I haven't looked into stuff.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: I'm not going to go back and look at that stuff. And anybody who has the time to go back and look at that is either doing it because they're very, very bored or they have a very specific agenda. And I probably don't care about their agenda if they're spending that much time digging.
Sure.
If they have to dig that far back to find the dirt isn't even relevant anymore, in my opinion. But I digress. What I wanted to focus on with you, again, is your positivity. Now, I know there are probably going to be some people watching this who are familiar with it and be like, oh, Paul, do you know he stands for that? Oh, I don't like him because you know what? You will never find a politician you agree with 100%. Never, ever, ever, ever.
And sometimes yourself.
Yeah.
Because to your point, if you've grown, sometimes you don't agree with Eddie Andrews of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've got some new information on this.
Yeah, well, and I love it when someone who's in a political position is willing to say, you know what, I changed my mind. This was my position, but now that there's more information available, I've reconsidered.
Sure.
I'm not saying you do that with all your stuff, but it's good to hear that someone is willing to do that kind of thing. It's good.
And I got to tell you, on that note, kind of a tangential note, there's once you talk to 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
You have lots of perspectives that you have never considered, and it really does make you grow as a person and hopefully as a legislator.
Yeah, excellent. I love it. I mean, really, genuinely, I was so thrilled when Eddie accepted my invitation to come and join on the front porch because, I was saving these things for a reason. I was going to talk about them no matter what, but it's so much better to actually have Eddie here to be able to brag on you about that. Now, I will say this. I was never a big fan of Tom Harkin. I did just a lot of his policies and views I didn't agree with. But what I liked about him was he was consistent. And when he campaigned here in Iowa, he said, this is what I will do. And he went to Washington, and that's what he did. Whether I liked it or not, he stuck to his word. Mm-hmm. Chuck Grassley, same thing. That's what I like about those two individuals. Because and I voted for Tom Vilsack, first time he ran for governor. And I did that because he was running against, his competitor was Jim Ross Lightfoot, who I supported when he was a congressman. But when he was running for governor, his campaign was, Iowa needs Lightfoot. But he never said why. He never articulated why we needed him. Vilsack, on the other hand, articulated an agenda. I didn't agree with everything in his agenda, but he communicated he'd thought about it, that he was running to be governor, that he had thought about what he was going to do. So I voted for him because I thought, well, here's a guy who's not just seeking an office, he is actually seeking this office. To me, that made a difference. Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing I think applies here as well. I mean, I don't even need to know what all your positions are. Obviously, you're already in the House, so it means he's probably not really, way off. You never know. I know he could be way off. I don't know. But he's on the front porch now, which makes him awesome.
Thank you.
But my point is, even if you know some of his politics and background, and there might be, don't be one of those single issue people that you get hung up on. Well, did you know he stands for this and that thing? Okay, granted, maybe you don't like that. Look at the character of the individual. Because no matter what you talk about on the stump, no matter what you say going door to door, no matter what's on the flyers that get sent out, all of that only represents a fraction of what he has to deal with once he's actually in office. And so Don't choose your candidate based on what they say, what they keep saying their stance are. Vote for the integrity of the individual and the thought process, because that's what's going to carry them when they're making decisions after they're elected.
That is so true. We talk about this all the time. Like we will talk about limited government. Get government off our back, right?
Yeah.
In my case, mental health. Oh my goodness, we've made lots of progress, but we have lots of more to go, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Those are only two major categories, and
plus they're major categories, but you don't just wave a wand and fix the major category. There's a whole bunch of little stuff inside those. It's the minutia, and you don't have time to talk about that on the campaign trail.
Right.
No one's going to listen.
Right. and sometimes even more so, we will have, to your point earlier, we will have like 1 or 2 or 3 major issues that people raise money off of. That we're going to do this, and we might pass 300 bills.
Yeah.
And so you really want somebody who's going to listen to you, be creative with solutions, have integrity, not be pushed around. Not be afraid to go against leadership in your own party if it doesn't make sense to you or to your district. I don't like that because it doesn't make sense to me or to the people that I represent. So sorry, can't get to a yes on that one. But let's work together on this next one.
To me, that sounds like the way it should be. That's that. And as a former history teacher and U.S. government teacher, honestly, that's the way it was supposed to be. When campaigns and elections started and the parties sort of formed initially, that was the idea. You have an individual who stands up and says, "This is what I stand for. If you like that, vote for me. If you don't like it, there's other options." As opposed to what we see a lot today, where we have individuals saying, "Vote for my party" or "Vote for a position of stuff," or even worse, there was a U.S. representative many years ago. He's not in anymore, but many years ago. Ran into him at one of his meet and greets, and at that time I was focused on the Iowa Communications Network.
Oh, sure.
Yes, it was fairly new at that point in time. That's how old ago this was. And I went up to him and I asked him, "What do you think about what should be happening with the ICN?" And I kid you not, his reaction, he turned to me and said, "Well, the ICN is very important. How do you feel about it? What do you think should be done?" Now, you could say he was wanting to hear what his constituents wanted, what our ideas were. Maybe. What I interpreted was he wanted me to tell him what I wanted him to tell me. And I don't want a politician who's going to just tell me what they think I want to hear.
Sure.
I want the guy or lady who is going to say, "This is who I am, this is what I stand for." And that's right here. Eddie's doing it. He's out here doing this. He's going door to door doing the same thing. And I appreciate so much that you are promoting Eddie and what Eddie will do and not anything else.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I know you got door knocking you got your back to as well.
And God bless you all.
Yeah. So thank you for being here today, for taking a little break here, and you're welcome back anytime.
It's my pleasure.
So with that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.
Peace.